And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this Tuesday. It's October 14th. It's 2025. Me and you for the next two. That's the deal here on the Michael K. Show from 1 to 3. The fastest 2 hours in sports talk radio. We got big-time guest today. Brian Costello of the New York Post covered the Jets forever, has covered the Jets forever, and he's the one who asked the question to Aaron Glenn, where Aaron Glenn said, what kind of question is that? We'll find out what kind of question it is when we talk to Brian Costello later on in the hour. Paul Finebaum joins us at 2 o'clock as he does every Tuesday. And a lot of stuff to ask him with the vacant job at Penn State. Who's going to get that job? A lot of coaches with jobs right now are said to be under consideration and just furthers the wild, wild west of college sports. Hope you're having a great day. One bad baseball game yesterday as Seattle is like slapping around Toronto, and they're up 2-0. Another blowout win at the hands of the Blue Jays, and that's in Toronto. So now the series will shift to Seattle. And a great first game in the NLCS. Blake Snell was brilliant, faced a minimum 24 batters over 8 innings before the weak part of the Dodgers made it a game. Roki Sasaki didn't have it on this one night. Then they brought in Blake Trinan, who struck out Bryce Terang with the bases loaded and 2 outs on a pitch out of the strike zone. That ended the game, and the Dodgers won game 1 of that series 2-1. And it shows you once again what you do during the regular season really doesn't mean all that much in the postseason, because the Brewers were 6-0 against the Dodgers. 6-0 against the Dodgers during the regular season, and the Dodgers win game 1 of the best of 7 NLCS. And again, Blake Snell was absolutely unbelievable. Dodgers signed him to a big-time contract. Wasn't able to pitch a lot of the year because of injuries, but he has been brilliant in the postseason. And if the Dodgers had blown that game in the 9th inning yesterday, then there would have been questions today about Dave Roberts taking him out, because he had a pitch count in the low 100s after 8 innings, didn't seem to be laboring at all. But this is a guy who's never really pitched or known to pitch complete games. So they went to a neophyte in Roki Sasaki, and Sasaki did get hit kind of hard, allowed 1 run, then the bases were loaded. They bring in Trinan, and Trinan did strike out Bryce Terang for the final out. Also in that game, an unbelievable, one of the most amazing plays you'll ever want to see, an 8-6-2 double play. 8-6-2 double play. Muncy hits a long fly ball to center with the bases loaded. Ball bounces off the glove, goes up against the wall. Teoscar Hernandez cannot see that. It bounced off the wall. He tagged up, thought he caught it, because after it bounced off the wall, went right back into the glove of the center fielder. Then they fire it to the shortstop. Shortstop fires home. They get the force. The runners retreat. They go to third base, double play to end the inning. And you thought, wow, maybe Milwaukee has some karma on its side. But the bottom line, it didn't. Not able to really score against Snell. Only scratched 1 run in the 9th inning against the Dodgers suspect bullpen. And that's where we stand baseball-wise. Now, let's play the what-if game, if you'd like to, in football. So there were 2 Monday Night Football games yesterday, and the Bills seem to be stubbing their toes just a little bit, not playing very well. They end up losing to the Falcons. And then the Bears, on a last-second field goal, they beat the Commanders. And if you look at the NFC East, you play the what-if game. Can you imagine what we'd be talking about, how excited we'd be right now if the Giants had indeed beaten New Orleans and then went on to win the game that they won this past week against the Eagles? They'd be 3-3. Now you say, well, what's 3-3? Check out the NFC East right now. Looks like the Eagles are broken. The Dallas Cowboys can't beat the Panthers. And the Commanders are not the same team that they were last year. So the only thing that's stopping you from getting a little bit giddy with excitement about maybe the Giants have a chance to make a little noise is that loss in New Orleans. 2-4, I think you've almost got to be on some certain sort of, non-prescription medicine to get a little crazy about them being in it. But the other teams don't look that great. They just don't. They don't look that great. The bottom line is you got a situation where Dallas is beatable in a big way. Philadelphia is beatable. The Giants proved it. And so did the Broncos. And the Commanders are beatable. And I think you look around the NFL, there's a lot of situations like that. There's teams that you think should be much better, and they're not. And then you switch over to the AFC East. If the Jets actually had a pulse, I'm just asking for a little bit of a pulse. You know who's leading the AFC East right now after the Bills lost yesterday? Do you know? Yeah, I think you do. It's the New England Patriots with their new head coach, Mike Vrabel. That's it. So nobody's running away with that. The Dolphins are awful. The Bills, something's up. And the Jets are 0-6. So we can't even dream, even with that non-prescription drug we were talking about with the Giants, we can't even dream about the Jets. They don't even allow you to dream. That's the bad part of it. All I want to do is dream. Just dream a little dream. But the Jets don't allow it. They go to London and they stink up the joint. Broncos win 13-11. And we're still talking about should they have considered taking out Justin Fields. You know, Aaron Glenn doubled down yesterday in terms of he didn't think it was the right thing to do just because it was one bad game. Again, mixed messaging. I said this yesterday. Xavier Gibson had one bad play, and he got released. And this wasn't just one bad game. This was historically bad. And I'm not just throwing the word historically for dramatic effect. It was historically bad, how bad they were. So all of the mess surrounding the Jets. You know what the back page of the New York Post was today? Judging Aaron. Not Aaron Judge, judging Aaron. That's Aaron Glenn. He's 0-6. He botched up the second half, the first end of the first half, second quarter, with how he used the clock. Completely botched it. His team doesn't look prepared. He doesn't seem prepared. He seems like the game is moving a little bit too quickly for him. And that's a little bit of a concern. So 6 games into your coaching tenure, and the New York Post is already talking about your job security. Again, nobody is even hinting that his job should be in jeopardy. Not at 0-6. But you have to think about, well, what if? What if this goes on the whole year? What if they finish, 2-15? And Glenn just keeps spouting the same stuff. You got to stick to what you believe in. And there are instances of coaches that turned out to be all-time greats that had terrible first, years. His mentor, Bill Parcells, 3-12-1. You look at the first tenure of Bill Belichick in Cleveland, under 500. And then the first year that Parcells had in New England wasn't very good either. But are we seeing any growth whatsoever from game 1 to game 6? No, we're not. So that's a little bit of a concern. And we'll talk to Brian Costello about all things Jets when he joins us at 1:30. Now I want you to join us. I want you to take part in this as well. There's so many topics that are out there right now when it comes to the sporting world that a lot of people are hitting me up on social media about. Well, this is your chance, man. 1-800-919-3776. I want to hear from you. What's on your mind? It could be about anything. You look at the, I saw a lot of this yesterday as well. Well, why couldn't the Yankees beat Toronto and Seattle is beating up on Toronto? Horses for courses, man. And maybe Toronto expended so much energy beating up the Yankees, and the Yankees were, the knight on the top of the hill. And they spent so much energy to defeat the Yankees that this is kind of a letdown. It shouldn't be. And maybe they'll snap out of it by the time they get to Seattle. And another thing that I keep hearing, well, why were the Yankees unable to even get a hit off of Trey Yasavich? And yesterday, Seattle had 3 runs off him in the first inning. Again, horses for courses. And I've always said this too. Don't fall in love with a young pitcher who has an unbelievable game. Because it's hard for that said young pitcher to have 2 straight great, unbelievable games. And Savage battled yesterday. The major damage was done against Toronto's bullpen, but Savage was not close to what he was against the Yankees. Now, let's also be brutally frank. Cam Schlittler, although I thought he pitched well against Toronto, he wasn't near the pitcher that he was against Boston. Because there's been one pitcher in the history of baseball that has been shut up, stop the presses, great, 2 games in a row, and that's Johnny Vandermeer. He actually pitched 2 no-hitters in a row. Now, you could be really good 2 games in a row, but great 2 games in a row. So Savage was great against the Yankees. He was not even close to great yesterday. Schlittler was, one of the great postseason performances of all time when you look at it statistically against the Red Sox. And although I thought he did his job against Toronto, he didn't shut them down completely the way he shut down the Red Sox. So don't fall in love with a young pitcher being great. It could be a blip on the radar screen, or it could be an adjustment by the other team that went to school on what he did. And then Savage, this is a problem that's happening in sports today too. And I wonder how it's going to be curbed. He had his press conference with the media before Game 1. And he talked about how he would wish that people would, lay off his family on social media and go, they went after them. And he said, just go after me. I'm the one that's in the spotlight. It's not them. They shouldn't be involved. You know what? I should listen to my own advice, but I got to tell you this. You got to stop reading social media. If you're a player where people are betting and so they let their ridiculousness get out of hand, what are you even engaging? I said this the other day. I think I said it yesterday about Cam Schlittler. Stop engaging on social media. Stop answering the trolls. And I'm going to tell you what, you could be the best guy in the world, best girl in the world, not having ever done anything wrong, never alienated anybody in the world. And if you go search on social media, you're going to find really nasty stuff about yourself and about your family and about your kids and about you and about your orientation, whatever the case may be, you're going to find it. And I know that that's what the young people keep score with. But once you become a Yankee and once you become a Blue Jay and you're pitching in the ALCS and you're Cam Schlittler and you're deep in the Yankee plans for the future, stop engaging with these lunatics. Stop reading it. What good does it do? Because the more you read, the more you'll find out, the nastier it'll get, and then it will affect you. And I could see, I watched that press conference with Savage. He was affected. You could see it really bothered him, what they said about his family. And it would bother anybody. In the old days, somebody would have to write a letter, find an address, get a stamp, and send it. Now it's so easy. Any lunatic can do it. And hiding behind the air of not even being discovered. Anonymity. So why would that even bother you? Now, if they put a name and a face to it, maybe it could bother you a little bit, and then you alert the authorities. But most of these people are eggs, or they have a picture of a cat or a dog. You're going to let that affect your life that much? Every single organization, in my opinion, should advise all of these young players, you got to stay off. You can't read the comments. You can't. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Again, in this era of gambling, where people are probably betting their last dime because it's so available to bet right now, they get angry when they lose. Red Sox fans were angry at Schlittler because he grew up a Red Sox fan, and how dare he earn a living with the Yankees. It's like the old story when Don and I were working together and the Rangers backup job on radio opened up. And Don is a born and bred Devils fan. Born and bred. He has a Devils tattoo on his calf. I'm not talking out of school. He does. With 3 Stanley Cups on it. Bad choice by him, but he does have it. He said, well, what should I do? I said, what should you do? Take the Ranger gig. You're not a child anymore. Take the Ranger gig. Why wouldn't you? You're not little Don LaGreca sitting there in the Meadowlands watching the Devils. You're an adult now. You support a family. You take the Ranger job. And you know what? The sporting gods had his back because after doing a great job on the Rangers, this year he gets the Devils TV job, his dream job. Now, if he never took the Rangers job, he would have never gotten the Devils TV job. So these Boston fans that jump all over, Cam Schlittler for actually pitching for the Yankees, what? They would turn down a major league deal? Yankees drafted them, they'd retire and just, I don't know, go into some manual labor? Oh, I can't pitch for the Yankees. I'm a Red Sox fan. You got to let go of it sometime. So that's most of the hatred that's toward Schlittler, and he keeps engaging with them. It's only going to make it worse. And then with Yasavich, I'm sure Yankee fans were part of it as well because he shut them down and was a big part of them going home. Every single organization should get together with their team and say, this has to stop. There's other ways to sell your brand. Otherwise, have somebody that you trust or a professional run your social media. You do not look at mentions. It's only going to set you off. You see it all the time. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Frank in Newark. Frank, start it off, babe.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me on the show.
You got it.
I gotta say, when it comes to the Jets and Aaron Glenn, it's at some point, yes, he's a student of postseason, and you would see things that, you would see his blueprint on the team. I mean, you would see the defensive blueprint, which the only time we saw it was last week. But other than that, it's like at some point, critical of his.
You got a bad line. I think what Frank is trying to say that, the headline that I saw on my screen is that, he has no potential. I don't know if I'd say he has no potential. I'd say he hasn't shown much. But he has studied. He's been a coach on many levels in terms of assistant and then ascending to defensive coordinator on a team that turned out to be great, the Detroit Lions. Now, it's just a different gig when you move to that other seat. Is he up for it? Time will tell. So far, I don't think he's been good. Mike in Old Bridge. Mike. Hello, Mike.
Hi, how are you? I'm a huge fan of the show. Sorry. So my thought is I think Glenn might be losing on purpose to get a higher draft pick and everything of that nature because he said he's spoken to Woody about all of this and they're all on board with the plan. And I don't think they're going to get their first win until every other team has a second win. So this way they could still keep that number one. Because a lot of the stuff that's happening at the end of games, it makes no sense. And it feels weird. So I think that might be what they're trying to do.
Well, let's say, Mike, that's what they're trying to do, then they're idiots. They're idiots. I don't understand that thinking. There's not that transcendent quarterback that's available in the draft that you'd say, yeah, I got to lose every single game to get that number one pick. Who are you looking at? Francisco Mendoza? The guy from Indiana? Is that who you're looking at? Or Fernando Mendoza, I'm sorry? Why would you blow every game to get something that doesn't look at this point, midway through the college season, to be a transcendent game changer? For a while we thought it was Arch Manning, and before it turned out that maybe it's not Arch Manning, Archie Manning, his grandfather, said he's staying in school after this year anyway. So where is the big great player? The quarterback in Miami? You're gonna actually lose as many games as you can for the quarterback in Miami. I don't buy that. I think they have earned their 0-6. I think they've really earned their 0-6. Let's go to Billy in the truck. Billy.
Hey, Michael. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
You were talking a little before about social media, and I think you like doing this too. You like stirring the pot a little bit. I like getting in these comment sections sometimes and hashing it out with some of these dummies on there. But
you know what, Billy? I hardly do that anymore. I don't think if I've done it once in the last year and a half, I address it on the show,
yeah.
but I'm not doing it on X. It's not, you can't win. You're getting in the mud with a pig.
Yeah, I hear it. Yeah, no, I know. You used to get real fired up about it, but do you think what Dable's kind of like inadvertently kind of not really like protecting Jackson Dart, and not like in a malicious way, but kind of like, to me it just kind of seems like he's got like these blinders on of like, right now we got to win games right now, right away, and not really paying attention about the future of Dart and Scatterboo, because I mean the way these guys are going right now, I don't know if these guys are going to make it through the whole season.
Well, I mean that's the problem you have, Billy. The situation the Giants have, bringing this guy back on a win now order. They have to show a lot of progression. If he doesn't, he's going to get fired, and somebody else is going to be the coach of Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterboo. I have no problem with him using them. I have no problem. They're big boys. They're professionals. They're getting paid. I don't think they're being put in any harm's way. The same harm's way was in Russell Wilson. Every time you step on a football field, you're in harm's way. Every time. So no, I don't think he's ignoring the dangers of a football player, but that's his quarterback of the future, and that's his ticket to keeping his job. Don't blame him at all. Totally understand it. Chris in Center Reach. Chris.
Hi, Michael. Big fan for years. Kind of missed you and Paul doing the postseason, but that's either there. Can you tell me anything? Is it true that Rizzo is going to sign for next year?
To play for the Yankees?
That's what I just read.
No way. No, I can't see it. First of all, he officially retired as a Cub. He was totally an ineffective player because of injuries and age in the last 2 years with the Yankees. No way. That would be an absolute stunner to me. I'd love to know where you read that. Again, because he officially retired. Why? Because Rizzo was at the Ranger game with Judge. They're very close. Their two families are very, very close. But why would you bring back a guy who didn't play in 2025? What sense would that make? Not getting any younger. Ben Rice is your first baseman next year. So you wouldn't bring Rizzo in, another left-handed batter. You'd bring in a right-handed guy that maybe platoon at times with Rice. You never bring in Rizzo. That wouldn't make any sense. Dave in Westchester. Dave.
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
Good. How are you?
I was just saying I'm doing pretty good. I'm still a little bit down and out, over the Yankees. Like I told everybody, Judge would eventually break out, and he did incredible. Just too bad what happened. I'm just about to get out of it now. But I was very, very happy to hear over and over again, A-Rod and Jeter, without coming out and saying the guy's name, because I believe this. I don't care what Susan Waldman says. I thoroughly believe that this is Cashman telling this guy, don't play Jism first game. Don't do this. Don't do that. Bring this guy in. Bring that guy in. I don't blame Boone at all. I think Boone is a good manager. I don't think he's bad or medium. I think he's good. I like him a lot. It's not his fault at all. I'm blaming Cashman on everything. I wanted to ask you a simple question. We all know he's never going to get let go. Cashman's there forever. Is there anything that you think may happen that they would ever let Cashman go? Or is it?
Well, I mean, I couldn't tell you, a tipping point. I think he is respected by the Steinbrenner family. They know that every year they have a chance to win the World Series. They haven't done it since 2009, so that's a little bit of a fly in the ointment. In terms of, you blame Cashman totally. That's where it gets a little sticky with the Yankees. It really does. Because every time I've spoken to Aaron Boone, on the side, no cameras rolling, anything like that, he insists that he's making the decisions. And I believe it's collaborative. I don't believe he's totally making it on his own. Now, once it gets to the dugout, he probably is making it on his own. But then it becomes a case of semantics. He's making the decision based on information that's handed down from the front office, based on their reams of information. that they give him. The lanes for certain pitchers that will be most effective. So in this day and age in sports, it's hard to point the finger at a specific person and say it's their fault. I think that Aaron Boone deserves some of the blame. The front office deserves some of the blame. Because when you're collaborative, it's hard to say that's the reason. That's the reason. And when you say, will Cashman ever lose his job? Well, the way it's set up now, if Cashman ever lost his job, one of his lieutenants, like a Michael Fishman, who's been there forever as his right-hand guy, his analytics genius, would likely be in line to get the job. Or one of the other people that are heavy into analytics. It's just funny to me, and it seems like I sound like a broken record. If Boone ever lost his job, you'd get a clone of Boone. And if Cashman ever retired, you'd get another analytics-based guy. What do you think Andrew Friedman is running in L.A. with the Dodgers? That is an analytics-based team. You don't think that Dave Roberts is operating off a script? A collaborative script with the front office? Come on. Come on. Of course. Even the Brewers, right? The Brewers yesterday, they opened with an opener. You think Pat Murphy, an old-time guy who spent most of his career coaching in college, came up with, let's start an opener for an inning, and then we'll bring in Priester after that? No, it's dreamed up by people in the front office that have access to information. And then they suggested to Pat Murphy. And Pat Murphy bought in. Just like when the Yankees started Davey Garcia over Jay Happ in that playoff series. Boone could say it was his idea, that he made the decision, but I'm sure the idea came from up high. Now, what do you think of this? And Boone's in lockstep with the front office, so it's hard to say your fault, that guy's fault. It's everybody's fault. It's a league-wide fault. Because I think we trust what's on the paper more than we trust with our eyes now. I'm sorry. I think that's it. And all the managers that are going to get all these open jobs, they're probably going to be young guys that will be very, very clued in and connected to the numbers and the analytics, which is not a bad thing. But I think a manager should be free to go with his gut. And I'll quote what Brian said on our show many years ago, 5-6 years ago. I said, can Aaron Boone operate off his gut? He goes, absolutely, but he better be right. Because if he operates on his gut and it doesn't work, he's going to have to answer to why he did it. That's a lot of pressure on a manager. You want to keep your job, too. Brian Costello, he has a job. He's had it for a long time covering the Jets. He has not seen much good covering that team. We'll talk to Brian, who asked a question of Aaron Glenn that kind of set everybody off. What kind of question is that? We'll ask Brian that question. What kind of question was that? That's coming up next right here on The K Show until 3 o'clock on ESPN New York.
Bally Bet Sportsbook. Yo, Bally Bet stacked for football season. When it comes to sportsbook apps, it's undefeated. Bally Bet. Check out that brand new Parlay Zone. Here's the kickoff. Build your bets and place them right on your phone. What? Live bets, daily boosts, and promos. Increase your odds so you can win more dough. Touchdown! Bally Bet's the play. Make game day more fun and download it today. Must be 21 plus, New York only. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Bally Bet Sportsbook and Casino. Download it.
Did you know women account for 2/3 of all Americans living with Alzheimer's and 2/3 of all Alzheimer's family caregivers? Join the Alzheimer's Foundation of America at its Women Empowerment Forum on November 5th in Amityville to learn practical ways women can reduce their risk for Alzheimer's and enhance quality of life for themselves and their loved ones living with Alzheimer's. For more information or to register, visit alzfdn.org or call 866-232-8484.
1 in every 6 men is likely to be diagnosed with prostate cancer in his lifetime. That's why New York Presbyterian wants to remind men over 50 to book a prostate cancer screening. A simple blood test is all it takes. It could save your life. Screenings are available across New York City and Westchester at locations near you. Schedule your annual prostate cancer screening today at nyp.org/cancer screening. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian.
This is it. Shot clock winding down. Trailing by 2.
When you can't miss the last shot, and neither can he. Don't take slow for an answer.
Pastrello shoots. Didn't see it coming.
Switch to Optimum Fiber, the fastest and most reliable fiber internet, starting at just $40 a month. Call 888-4OPTIMUM or visit Optimum.com today.
What went through your head on the last shot? It all happened so fast.
Optimum. Don't take slow for an answer. Terms apply. See Optimum.com for details.
Dave Rothenberg here to tell you about my friends at Bathfitter. Now, they converted my kid's bathtub to a shower and did an incredible, really an unbelievable job. They offer all types of custom bath renovations, including their unique PermaFit solution for a watertight fit done in just one day. Durable and easy to clean with no demo or mess and lower cost than a standard replacement. And a lifetime guarantee. Right now, no money down, no payments, no interest until 2027. So start designing your bath today like we did at bathfitter.com. There's only one Bathfitter.
Score a win this game day with Amazon Pickup, the MVP of package pickup. Need that new football jersey for the big matchup? With Amazon Pickup, you can collect your order from secure Amazon lockers or counters near you on your schedule. Whether you're running from work or home or straight to the tailgate, Amazon Pickup makes it easy and worry-free at no extra cost. Don't miss kickoff. Grab your gear and your packages when it works for you. Find your nearest Amazon Pickup location at amazon.com/pickupmvp. That's amazon.com/pickupmvp.
Just printed from the Erie Canal Press, the most coveted ticket, New York Lottery's $1 million raffle, hath arrived. 15 fortunate souls shall come into the fortune of a millionaire.
Translation, the $1 million raffle is here, and 15 winners are going to become millionaires. The New York Lottery commemorates 200 years of the Erie Canal with your best odds of winning $1 million. Limited tickets available. Ask your local retailer today. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
There are a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Lease a new 2025 Mazda CX-30 2.5S all-wheel drive for $159 for 33 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda. Call 833-853-2970 for details. VIN SM841631, MSRP $26,980, 0 security deposit, and 1031.25.
Some people just know you can save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the weather first, before wearing face paint to the game.
Bro, your Go Cats is dripping into your nachos.
Oh, and now paint is in my eyes.
Interception! Did you see that?
No! Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first and see what you could save. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Potential savings vary, including based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Rich Eisen here for Sonos, the speakers that bring every game to life in my own house. With studio quality sound, Sonos makes you feel like you're right there in the stadium. Whether you're cheering on your team, binging your favorite show, or listening to the hottest songs, Sonos fills every room with incredible sound. Setup is easy. Just plug in, open the Sonos app, and you're ready to go. Want stadium quality sound at home just like me? Because I love Sonos. You will too. Explore soundbars, speakers, and more at Sonos.com. Sonos. They look as good as they sound.
All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. Yesterday, we were really dissecting the Jets losing to the Broncos 13-11, an all-time poor performance by their quarterback and also by their coach. And after the game in London, Brian Costello of the New York Post asked the question, would you consider changing quarterbacks? To which Aaron Glenn said, what kind of question is that? I thought it was a great question. I thought it was a legitimate question. It wasn't a question that was trying to stir it up. It's a legitimate question when somebody performs as poorly as Justin Fields. So I said, let's give a voice to the man who asked that question, Brian Costello, who's covered the Jets forever for the New York Post. And Brian joins us now. Hi, Brian. How you doing?
I'm good, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing fine. What kind of question was that, Brian?
Yeah, Michael, I thought it was a question every Jets fan watching that game back home, or those that made the trip over to London, those poor souls who spent their money to go to that game, was wondering, watching the way Justin Fields played and, negative 10 net passing yards is the all-time worst in Jets history. And when you have an all-time worst in Jets history, that's a mouthful because there's been some bad football played through the years. So, I thought it was a question probably everybody was wondering at home.
So what do you think is behind Fields' poor performance on Sunday? Is it because he didn't get rid of the ball? Is it what Tippmann is saying that, we didn't give him enough time? I thought he had enough time. He just doesn't release the ball. What's your take?
Yeah, I think he has to take more chances, Michael. To me, he's playing safe, and I'm not sure if he's being coached that way or if that's just in his mind. But, guys are not running wide open, but that doesn't happen in the NFL. And this isn't Ohio State, right, where guys are going to be running wide open in the backfield many games. You kind of have to take some chances, and you got to give your guys a chance to win. And Garrett Wilson can win 50-50 balls. I just think he's not doing that. He seems timid. He had 0 interceptions, Michael, and you think that'd be something you'd celebrate after 6 games. But to me, it's because he's not taking any chances. And I think you can live with an interception or 2 if he's pushing the ball down the field. Their longest play of the game was 11 yards. Like, that's inconceivable. 11 yards is the longest play of the game. So to me, he's got to push it down the field. Guys have to get open. I don't think guys are running wide open for him, but I do think he needs to take more chances, and I think he needs some help from the offense coordinator. It staggers me why there wasn't a screen pass called in this game. The Broncos are going to be an aggressive, attacking defense. Throw the ball to Breece Hall on a screen, see if you can do some stuff. Breece Hall had no targets in the game. Roll Justin Fields out so that if the play isn't there, he can make a play with his legs. It seemed like they made him a drop-back passer in this game, which he's not. So I think there's a lot of reasons, but definitely he has to get rid of the ball quicker, Michael. I think that's at the top of the list, but I think there's ways the Jets can help him.
Now, you look at that game, and the thing that will always stand out to me, I'm watching that game, and my jaw dropped when, what happened at the end of the second quarter happened, where it didn't seem like Aaron Glenn had a clue. And we had Steve Young on yesterday, and he likes Aaron Glenn, and he said, I just think it's like a young quarterback. This is a young coach where everything was moving too fast, and he probably wasn't processing it. Now, that's a good way to look at it, Brian, or you could say he's in over his head and he's just not good enough. I mean, which way do you lean?
Yeah, I'm not going to say he's in over his head and he's not good enough. It's 6 games. Right. But I do kind of agree with that assessment. I don't think he knew what he wanted to do at the end of the half, Michael, because it's weird. The whole sequence was weird. They got the first down, right? And that's always what you're taught in the 2-minute drill is get the first down and then go from there, right? And so they get the first down right before the 2-minute warning, and then they come out and run the ball. And it's like, okay, well, what are you doing? And then they get a 4th and 1, and they call a fake punt. And, Michael, how that fake punt worked, I'll never know. Because if you look at it, the entire starting offensive line was in the game, so including the center. Like, the long snapper wasn't in the game. So the Broncos knew what was coming, and they get it there. So you convert the fake punt. Okay, let's go. Now you're going to go. Push it. And they were just kind of hanging around and taking their time, and then he lets the clock run out. He admitted yesterday he probably should have tried a Hail Mary. I think you try to get in position to kick a field goal, and then if you don't do that, you try Hail Mary. But it's weird. I'm not one to blast the coach a lot, Michael. I'm a player's guy. I think players control this game a lot more than the coaches, but that was really a poor job by Aaron Glenn, and it was kind of shocking to watch.
He seems so sure of himself, though. Do you think that he's kind of doubting himself a little bit privately? Because publicly, he doesn't budge. He keeps talking about what Parcells has said, stay the course. All of his mentors, stay the course. I mean, you would think there has to be some modicum of doubt in there after you go 0-6.
Maybe briefly, I gotta think there's a moment after these games where he's shaking his head. But at heart, remember who this guy is, Michael. He's a guy who played cornerback in the NFL for 15 years. That's a position you can't play if you're not confident, right? Mm-hmm. It's like closers in baseball when you cover it. Like they if you lose your confidence, you can no longer play that position. And so that's who he is. And I think he's a really confident guy, and I think that's what he feels like is his strength, is that confidence and self-belief. And I think he truly believes he's going to turn this around. Now, like I said, I'm sure there's moments after these games where he's shaking his head and going, oh, my God, like this is worse than I thought. And I've covered a lot of Jets coaches. Like you said, I covered the Jets forever. I've been around a lot of these situations. And I do think there's a moment where they go, wow, this is bigger than I thought it was. And I think the thing that they all underestimate these days in the last few is the drought and that their timeline is not the same timeline that fans are on. And in some ways, Woody Johnson is on. And, this fans don't want to hear about patience and building, and they want to win now. It's been too long for the Jets fans. So I think it's hard for these guys when they come in. And for Aaron Glenn, it's been 6 games. But for the guy who's spending his money on the Jets and maybe has season tickets or maybe buys their kids jerseys, players that he sees traded away in 2 years, this has been 15 years of bad football now. And I think that's tough to take.
Now, this is a different sport than it used to be. As you said, Brian, when you got hired, you usually had about 5 years to turn it around. What's happening, on the other side of the stadium, the Giants are actually giving Shane and Dable a little time to get this done. But, you see Brian Callahan gets fired, 5 games into a second season. So I don't think people get those 5 years anymore. And we're getting a lot of Jet fan calls saying, they should get rid of Glenn now, which I think is folly. But do you think there's a possibility that Woody could lose patience and it could be a one and done?
I think it'd have to be like a 0-17, 1-16 situation, which isn't off the table right now, obviously. They haven't won a game, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's getting a lot of money, Michael. So I think there's a financial component of this, of Woody Johnson eating 4 years of a contract and also all the staff and all that money. So I think that, you can't just dismiss that. But, you're right. I mean, because I remember this with Gase. I'm sure you remember this because you were doing Monday shows with him at this time.
Mm-hmm.
There were people who wanted Gase fired in that first season. And I thought it was crazy then to say even after 1 year, because at that time it was very, very rare for a guy to get fired after 1 year. Now, though, you look around and Urban Meyer got fired after 1 year. Frank Reich got fired in the middle of 1 year. Nathaniel Hackett got fired. This is happening now with more frequency. Gerard Mayo last year. You're right. The things have changed a little bit. I still think it's highly, highly, highly unlikely. I think it would have to be a real disaster of a season in terms of, one win or no wins for that to happen.
When you see Justin, and we're talking with Brian Costello of the New York Post here on the Michael K. Show, when you see things like what Justin Fields is doing now or not doing, it does set up the classic second guess, because in Pittsburgh, Aaron Rodgers is 5-1, and Aaron Glenn clearly made the decision, I want this guy rather than that guy. Do you think that he's second-guessing that now? And do you believe in your heart of hearts that the Jets would be 0-6 if they had kept Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback?
I don't think he's second-guessing it at all. The record's an interesting question. No, I think they probably would have won some games with Aaron Rodgers. However, I don't think long-term that there's one too many Aarons in that situation, right? This is Aaron Glenn's team, right? He's obviously an alpha. He's established that it's his way or the highway. There's no way Aaron Rodgers would have played nice with Aaron Glenn. That would not have worked. So,
but isn't Mike Tomlin an alpha?
Yeah, but Mike Tomlin has a Super Bowl, and Mike Tomlin has been there a long, long time, and I think Aaron Rodgers will defer to him. I don't think he would have deferred to a first-time head coach. I don't think he would. I think he still would be on. He's not doing Pat McAfee anymore, right? I don't know if that people are talking about that, but that to me is like a huge concession that he made. He was making a lot of money from Pat McAfee. He's not doing that. I think that shows he respects Mike Tomlin. I don't think he would have shown that respect to Aaron Glenn, Michael. I just don't think there's any way. So I think they would have clashed. They would have been butting heads. It would have been ugly. So I don't think that decision is wrong. Yeah, could they be 2-4 or 3-3 right now with Aaron Rodgers? Probably. Would I say, they're going places with Aaron Rodgers? No, you would have been spinning your wheels. I think they might finish with a better record. I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, though. So to me, I'm not second guessing that decision. I understood what they were thinking at the time. And look, Justin Fields was a lottery ticket. That's how we all described it at the time. It was taking a chance that he could be the next Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold, that figures it out with his third team, and it hasn't happened. So the lottery ticket came back like most lottery tickets do, as a loser, and that's how it looks right now. But I do understand what the thinking was at the time.
Before I let you go, there's something that Steve Young, we have him on every Monday, said before the Dolphins game. He said it's imperative that the Jets win that game. He said because when you have a guy with a new message, you've got to have something positive in order to continue to sell that message. Yes. You're in that room, Brian. Does he still have their ears? Does he still have the attention of the players? Or are they starting to wonder? You see Garrett Wilson walking off with him, saying, well, what was that in the end of the second quarter? Is he losing the team at all?
I don't think he's losing the team yet, but I agree with Steve Young. They need wins, and there was more frustration Sunday in the post-game locker room than I had sensed in the other weeks. I think, it's wearing on them. Obviously, it's 6 games now. I do think he needs a win to reinforce his message. And, people made a lot of his response to my question on Sunday, and I didn't care that he responded that way. I asked him a question, though, before the Dolphins game. 2 days before the Dolphins game, I said, how badly does this team need a win, right? And he scoffed at that question. And he really, it was a Saturday afternoon, so nobody was paying attention. But he scoffed at that question. And he said, I can't even wrap my head around that question. He really, really played that down. And that one, to me, was shocking because I'm like, how could you not say, and I phrased it as all the hard work you put in, all the summer, all the training camp, all the things, you need a win to reinforce all that and make it feel all worth it. That's what you do that stuff for. And so I do agree with Steve Young. He needs it, and he's going to lose the locker room at some point. I don't think it's there yet, but I think we're getting closer, and Sunday felt like it moved a little bit. And I think the end of that first half, I think guys are scratching their heads. I think if Justin Fields goes out there and has another terrible performance against Carolina, there's going to be guys in that room going, why aren't we going to Tyrod? Because Tyrod's a popular player. He's a good player. As a backup quarterback, I think they're going to be wondering. So I do think we're getting there, Michael.
So just to put a bow on this, and I'm curious about it because, a long time ago I did your job, and, you could get a public answer that's a little bit where the manager is rankled and then privately pulls you aside and go, well, what the heck was that, Kay? I mean, did Glenn address it with you afterward? Why would you ask that question, or do you not want to tell us?
No, he didn't. He didn't. We haven't talked since Sunday. I also was flying yesterday, so I was not on the virtual availability yesterday.
Right.
But yeah, I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him since Sunday, and I didn't see him after the press conference. I didn't see him. So no, we haven't talked.
And did anybody from the Jets say to you, why would you ask that question?
No, they didn't. So no, I think people in the Jets know why that question had to be asked, and I think probably when he answered the question differently yesterday in the availability yesterday with reporters. So I think he knew after he thought about it why that question was asked, and he's been around long enough. Look, we're not asking if you're going to change the guard, right? There's one position we ask about changing positions. It's quarterback, because that's what's going to change your team. And that guy touches the ball every time. And it's the most important position in sports. So I think, I'm sure, he reacted to in the moment. I'm sure when he thought about it, he knew why I asked that question.
Well, I thought it was a legitimate question, a good journalistic question. Not that you need my okay on it, but thank you for coming on and talking about it.
No problem, Michael. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You got it. That's Brian Costello, covers the Jets for the New York Post. I will come back. More of your phone calls, 1-800-919-3776. Really, really looking forward to talking with Paul Finebaum in the 2 o'clock hour as well, with all the craziness going on in college football right now. It's the K Show. Michael K. and you for 2 hours every day from 1 to 3 right here on ESPN New York.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now, 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's carsforkids.org.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Friends, it's football season, the best time of the year. You should be out there tailgating, cheering on your team, and enjoying every Sunday. But if you're dealing with neck pain, back pain, sciatica, or nerve pain, even getting off the couch can feel like a challenge. You don't have to live like that. There's help. Dr. Jay Shaw at Sandwell Pain is New Jersey's top pain specialist. He's Ivy League trained, double board certified, and is dedicated to helping you get back in the game. Here's what makes the difference. No surgery, no scars, no long recovery, no pain medication. Just precise, non-surgical image-guided procedures that deliver real results. Dr. Shaw treats neck pain, back pain, joint pain, migraines, nerve pain, and sciatica with a plan that's customized for you. Same-day and next-day appointments are available, and with offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood, relief is always close. So don't let pain keep you on the sidelines this season. Visit SandwellPain.com to call, text, or book online. Most major insurances are accepted. That's SandwellPain.com. Relief is closer than you think, and it starts today.
Getting the right mattress helps you sleep at night. Getting the right price helps you sleep even better. At PC Richard & Son, they don't just sell you a mattress. Their experts use a 4-step fitting process to make sure your new bed fits you perfectly. The right fit, the right price, plus free delivery. It's what they do, only at PC Richard & Son. Free delivery on mattresses $199 and up. Excludes Manhattan. See stores for details.
Dropped right down the chimney by Justin Fields to Garrett Wilson, and the Jets have the lead. Be at MetLife Stadium for the Jets and the Panthers on Sunday, October 19th at 1 p.m., presented by JetBlue. Get to the game early and secure the game giveaway, a JetBlue Jets plane magnet while supplies last. Lock in your seats now at nyjets.com/tickets. Once again, that's nyjets.com/tickets.
A Progressive Home and Auto Bundle can protect you round the clock, but we can't protect you from those painful moments in sports.
Why would we trade our best player?
Well, at least you got to watch him in person when he was here.
I named my only son after him.
So you'll always remember his name.
Yeah, but what do I do with this jersey?
Luckily, the company has a great return policy.
I wore it for 6 seasons.
Well, at least your home and auto are protected with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Out here, days are getting a little cooler, and mornings are starting with a few more layers. It's the season for more time at the grill, more feed for your animals. Heaters burn late into the night, and the woods start calling your name. We appreciate hard-working hands, shared moments, and love for our land. That's why season after season, we're here for your life out here. Tractor Supply.
From the regular season to the Super Bowl, ESPN New York is your destination for football. We've got crazy fans.
If the Giants somehow beat the Cowboys, I'm going to take a dump on your head.
You can feel good because you're a damn football team.
Expert analysis.
Marcus Spears joins us now. ESPN NFL analyst Damian Woody.
Mel Kiper Jr.
The Hall of Famer Steve Young.
He's kind of our resident general manager, Louis Riddick.
We got Mike Tannenbaum right now.
And all your fantasy and wagering needs. This is ESPN New York. We are football.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Interesting stuff from Brian Costello of the New York Post. I don't know why I pronounced his name like that, Costello. Let's go to the phones. A lot of people want to talk today. I'd love to have you on because you're the co-host. You know that. Let's go to John in Bethlehem. John.
Hey, Michael. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Well, yes, lamenting the Yanks. And I was wondering if you were watching the whole Seattle Blue Jays series.
I've been watching a lot of it. I cannot lie and say I've watched every inning, but I've watched a lot of it.
Yeah, but you can see how, it's so true in the playoffs. If stars perform, you're usually going to win. And the Seattle Stars are performing. The Yankee Stars didn't, except for Judge, basically. Fried especially, and Ron. And you can see how Seattle, the Blue Jays could be had. I mean, it wasn't, and you can see how guys like Ernie Clement, who were hitting over 600 against the Yankees, are now struggling. If your pitchers and your hitters play to their potential, it's it's a different ballgame, obviously. The other thing I wanted to mention, and I want you to comment on what I just said too, because I'd be interested in your opinion. You said something earlier about Brian Cashman saying to Boone, he better be right about his decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't
His gut
Hal
decisions.
say that about Brian? Doesn't Hal say, you better be right about what you're doing? Because
but
because
I know there's a little bit of flippancy in that question. Brian's not operating from his gut. Brian's operating from hard and fast numbers. That's how they make decisions. So you don't have to call him on the carpet when a decision doesn't go right. The numbers say that was the decision to make, so it's hard to argue with the numbers. What Brian was saying about Boone, yeah, he could make a decision by his gut, but it better be right because he's going against all the hard-earned numbers that we put together. And we don't do that as an exercise in futility. We do that so it can be used. And if it's not used and it doesn't work, they want to know why. So no, I don't think Hal ever has to really question Brian. Brian's not doing anything by the gut. I can assure you he's not a gut guy. He's an information-based guy. So it's easy for Hal to know why that decision was made. Let's go to Mike in Connecticut. Mike.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for
Hello,
taking
Mike.
the call. I appreciate it.
You got it.
Hi. So I've been reading already the who would you rather have has started of Cody Bellinger versus Kyle Tucker. I was interested to hear what your opinion was on the who do you think is a better fit. I think Bellinger is the better versatile defender, maybe gives a little bit less with the bat. Tucker doesn't seem like he fits super well outside of offensively, so I think we'd be reverting back to 2024, no fundamentals, no defense Yankees. My second question is, do you think there's a young player from this team that will be like a surprise, maybe trade piece in the offseason? Maybe they decide to move on from like a Dominguez, Rice, one of the young starting pitchers that we have, since there's so many pitchers right now. So I'm just interested to see what you think.
Well, I would think, Mike, that the young player that I could see being dealt would be Louis Seal. I think he's lost some favor because of his inability to throw strikes. And really, honestly, since the All-Star break of last year, 2024, he has not been the same player he was for the first half. So I could see them selling at somewhat of a high, not as high as it was in 2024, but he hasn't crashed. And the Yankees do have a lot of pitching depth. And it'll get better when Cole gets back in May or June and Schmidt gets back maybe in August or September. And they've got a lot of young kids coming as well. So I could see that maybe happening. And they have a lot of youngsters coming up through the system. So maybe one of them could be dealt. And if they sign a Bellinger and they sign a Grisham back, then really there is no place for Jason Dominguez. There's just not. So maybe they would consider that, although I don't think they want to trade him. I could see them trading Spencer Jones. Now, as for the choice between Bellinger and Tucker, it's hard. Tucker at Yankee Stadium would really hit a lot of home runs. But there would be one big issue. He's a right fielder. They're not going to move Judge to left field. They keep jerking Judge around. Center field, right field, center field, right field, according to, the roster from that year. I think Judge stays in right next year. And that means Tucker would have to play in left. He's not a great defender. So you would be going back to having a situation where the defense is not job one. But is he a better defender than Jason Dominguez in left? Yeah, he is. So if you sign Tucker, Dominguez would go to center. And I've heard he's not that great in center either. So it's tough. And Tucker's going to get a lot more money than Bellinger. A lot more. He's younger. He's probably going to want close to $40 million a year. I would think that you could get Bellinger maybe for 30, a little over 30 a year, but I don't know how many years that Scott Boras is going to want. So there's a lot of questions there. I just think that Bellinger is a superior defender at first, left, center, and right. But Tucker's probably a better hitter overall, especially at Yankee Stadium with a short porch in right field. If you say, Michael, we'll make a decision. Stop chattering. I think I'd probably go with Bellinger because we know he fits. We know he likes it here. We know that he can play here and succeed here. And it'd probably be close to $10 million less per year. And you're probably going to have to give Tucker a much longer-term contract than Bellinger. And I keep learning the longer the contract, the more risk there is. So I probably go with Bellinger. But if you can get Tucker at a decent price coming off a subpar year with the Cubs, then you probably go that route because he's a better hitter. Not a better player, he's a better hitter. Paul Finebaum is going to join us in just a moment. You want to stick around for that? It's the K Show right here on ESPN New York.
880 ESPN, WHSQ, and WCBS-FM HD2, New York. A Good Karma Brands radio station.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories, millions of journeys, and behind every one is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take a step forward. Moments in therapy, like the right question, a safe space to cry, or a small win can change lives. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works, with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who have helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our fans get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/timeout. That's BetterHelp.com/timeout.
Paul Murray to the net. Score!
The New York Islanders are back in action with a brand new theme night schedule you won't want to miss. Bring your friends out for the holidays and take home a custom holiday replica jersey or arrive early for special bobblehead giveaway nights for Matt Barzell and Bo Horvat.
Barzell for Horvat. Score!
Explore the full theme night schedule at NewYorkIslanders.com.
Just printed from the Erie Canal Press, the most coveted ticket, New York Lottery's $1 million raffle, hath arrived. 15 fortunate souls shall come into the fortune of a millionaire.
Translation, the $1 million raffle is here, and 15 winners are going to become millionaires. The New York Lottery commemorates 200 years of the Erie Canal with your best odds of winning $1 million. Limited tickets available. Ask your local retailer today. Please pay responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
D'Agostino & Associates is a legacy firm, and I'm proud to be a part of that legacy. I'm Jenna D'Agostino, and like my father, I fight to get justice for the injured.
The hustle and grit of these streets shaped me. I'm John D'Agostino, and from the concrete to the courtroom, I built this injury firm 35 years ago to get accident victims justice. So call my team first, 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222.
You want justice? Think Jenna D'Agostino. Think D'Agostino & Associates. Justice isn't just a word. For us, it's a way of life. It's having compassion for your struggle and getting you paid for your pain. Now that's justice. D'Agostino & Associates means being there for the injured.
Seriously injured? Call my team first at 1-800-BITE-BACK. That's 1-800-248-3222. D'Agostino & Associates has offices throughout New York and New Jersey and will come to you. I've been there, and I'll be there for you.
D'Agostino, Law, Bite Back.
Okay, all signed up. Easy. Now let's run payroll. What the? Hey girl, I'm you with more gusto. Nice. Who's that? New social media manager. Hired and onboarded with gusto. And spoiler, we're kind of famous now. Wait, we're famous? Oh, well, I'm famous. Payroll, benefits, and HR. Designed and built for small businesses. Choose a future with gusto.
Your fantasy roster is set. The Smack Talk is heating up, and this season, ESPN Bet is giving you more ways to ride with your squad. Introducing the ESPN Bet Fan Center, where you can instantly link and bet on your fantasy teams right in the ESPN Bet app. An enhanced sports betting experience only from ESPN Bet, the sports book for sports fans. Make the connection today with ESPN Bet Fan Center and the ESPN Fantasy app. ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Download the app today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Welcome back to the show. K and U for 2 hours every day from 1 to 3. And every Tuesday at this time, get a chance to talk to Paul Finebaum. Time now for the Paul Finebaum Report, brought to you by Bet365. I've really been looking forward to talk to Paul because there's so much going on in the world of college sports, and he joins us now on the show. Hey, Paul, how you doing? Paul?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mike. For some reason, I think I lost you for a second, but you are right. The news from Penn State this week was absolutely staggering. I mean, Penn State has been dealt with bigger tragedies, obviously, with Joe Paterno, but I have never seen a coach 3 weeks ago be number 2 in the country and literally be fired as a result in the end.
So what happened, though? I mean, because he's always been able to beat the bad teams, and then he has 2 losses against teams that I think he was 20 or more point favorites, and the last one was to Northwestern.
What happened ultimately was there was just a complete and total back and James Franklin, and it's been building for some time. Obviously, the continual loss top 10, top 20.
We're having a hard time with Paul's line, so we'll try to get him back because obviously there's so much stuff I want to talk to him about, but he keeps cutting in and out. What we're hitting on right now is the James Franklin situation, with so much money left on his contract, and Penn State decides to get rid of him. Now Penn State's a pretty prime job, and we've heard so many names that are out there in terms of who they would try to get in, and obviously they could spend a lot of money because, there's different reports out there, but they spent like $50 some odd million to buy him out. That's how badly they wanted him out of there. So that's kind of a legacy job, and there'll be some coaches in the Big Ten, in Penn State's conference, that will jump from their team to take the Penn State job. So we'll see exactly who's going to get that, but that was a shocker. This is a guy that won 2 games in the college football playoffs last year. Now, they were easier games. He got a pretty good draw. And then, he plays Oregon, plays them close. And as Paul mentioned, they're ranked number 2. And then 2 just inexplicable losses. And he loses his job. The people at Penn State just finally lost patience. Now, let me ask my producer, Ray, do we have Paul back? Okay.
I think so.
Paul,
yeah, Michael, I'm here.
So I'm talking about the Franklin situation, and I lost you when I asked you, how could he lose to the 2 teams he just lost to?
Yeah, so, I mean, just think about this. 3 weeks ago, he faced Oregon. He was the number 2 team in the country. He lost that game in double overtime. And then he went out and lost to UCLA and obviously lost to Northwestern. And what happened was, and I don't think I've really ever seen this before in any other sport, where the bottom just fell out and there was no stopping it. I mean, I talked to fans that were at State College on Saturday. I mean, they were literally booing him off the field. And I think the administration came to a conclusion that, yes, $49 million is a lot of money, but the damage had been done and there was no turning it back. They were going to lose players. And what's even worse is that James Franklin went to the administration and said, we have to go all in. We can't let Ohio State continue to do this. So they went after and hired Jim Knowles, the Ohio State defensive coordinator, who was the national champion last year. They went out into the portal and brought in multiple players at a very high price. And when it flopped, the conclusion was, we went out and gave this guy everything we wanted, and he still can't get it done. So it just became a mushroom cloud of the likes we have never seen before, and he was gone. It's the new world of college football, where you don't get a couple of years to turn it around. You basically, in this case, you got a couple of weeks.
All right. So from what I read, Paul, he has a duty to mitigate clause. So he gets the $49 million, but he has to look for a job. What exactly does that mean in layman's terms?
Well, I mean, I think it basically means you just can't go to the beach. And I think as long as you get the money, I mean, he is probably hireable. Not at the time. I mean, he's been damaged. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I think he was considering the USC job, and that's how he was able to get this ridiculous buyout and new contract. That's just the way. Yeah, you basically have. It's a little different. It's not totally different than baseball, but you have about 3 agents who control the entire market, and they leverage. I mean, these athletic directors are not like billion-dollar owners. I mean, they are state employees who sometimes don't know what they're doing.
So who's going to get this job? Who do you think some of the candidates are? Because, bottom line, Paul, it's still a pretty prestigious job.
I think the most interesting name is Matt Rule. Now, Matt Rule, who bombed at the Carolina Panthers, we all know that. He's done okay at Nebraska. They're 5-6-1 this year. But the most interesting thing is he played at Penn State. He also worked for the current athletic director, Pat Kraft, at Temple. He was fantastic at Temple. By the way, nobody's been fantastic at Temple for a very long time. But he beat some SEC teams. He beat some other teams. And they are also best friends. Now, that doesn't always automatically mean you get the job because your best friend is the AD, but it can hurt. The other name to consider is Curt Cignetti, who did the unthinkable the other day for Indiana, and they went out and beat Oregon at Oregon. So those are the two to watch. I think another thing to keep in mind is that, some of the usual suspects, the big names, you probably want to hire somebody that's not in the playoffs, because that means if you hire a top line coach, he may not be free until the middle of January, and that can really hurt you in college football.
I'm reading Marcus Freeman. Would he leave ND for this job?
Maybe. I mean, he would be a very hot name, and he probably won't be in the playoffs, or if he is, he won't be in the playoffs long. So I think that's somebody to consider. I would take Marcus Freeman over the names I've mentioned. I think he's a better coach.
Let's double back on Cignetti, because I'm fascinated by him. He's 64 years old. Would a college give him a long-term contract at that age? And why did it take so long for Curt to become this guy?
Yeah, he's the son of a football coach. His father was a coach at West Virginia a million years ago. He spent a long time. He was originally Nick Saban's chief recruiter at Alabama, and then he just didn't. He kind of got lost, and he went to James Madison, where he literally moved his entire team to Indiana. I covered this stuff, as you well know. I never believed he could do what he's doing. I just didn't think it was possible. And what he did the other day was gobsmacking. So he's possible. I mean, he's the hottest name right now, but I would think Matt Rule or Marcus Freeman or someone else would probably be a better. I mean, I'm just not sure. Even though he's coaching in Pennsylvania, I don't know why that matters, but some schools are very provincial, and I think Penn State would be in that group.
Do you think his age plays against him?
Not entirely. I mean, Nick Saban retired at 73. He won a couple of national championships in his late 60s. It's not ideal. Now, this is coming from somebody who's older than him, it's not perfect. But I think he would. You don't look at these jobs long term anymore because of the pressure. So, if they could get 5 to 6, 7 years out of him, it would be an upgrade over what they had until Sunday.
All right. So, how did he do it at Indiana? Indiana's not exactly a hotbed, and somehow he's made them. As you said, he goes to Oregon and beats Oregon. What's he done? What's the secret sauce there?
He moved a bunch of players, which gave him some cohesion. He's also taken advantage of a ridiculously easy schedule. You're not seeing Indiana play Texas in the preseason, in the early days of the season, or Alabama. They're playing a bunch of nobodies that they can beat. And he's gotten pretty fortunate with his Big Ten, and the Big Ten's not that great anyway. He's got a bunch of Michigan States and Marylands and Rutgers on the schedule, as opposed to having to deal. I mean, he has Ohio. I think he had Ohio State last year, and they lost badly. I mean, they lost every meaningful game they had last year, but that was all erased by the Oregon win.
So, we talked. It's so fluid. It seems, the changing of people's thoughts. Kalen DeBoer was gone when we talked 2 or 3 weeks ago. Now it looks
absolutely.
like they righted the ship. What has he done?
It does happen that quickly. What's happened at Alabama is that it turned out that first loss against Florida State was an outlier. The quarterback just wasn't prepared. It was his first start, and after that, the guy became very possibly the best quarterback in the country. I mean, we're in this space now that tradition and practical thinking doesn't really work anymore. Alabama, I was at their game Saturday in Missouri. And they are playing at a different level. They have great players, but they just weren't cohesive. They brought in a new offensive coordinator from who was with DeBoer at Washington, and suddenly their offense is clicking. Their defense is solid. if not close to elite, and they've got a few more tests, but they're in great shape.
Talking with Paul Finebaum, his weekly spot here on the show. Now, Paul, are you starting to get a little bit more warm and fuzzy about Arch Manning after he beats Oklahoma?
Well, I couldn't be any wrong, any worse predictions that I've made. But he was very good in that game, and I think they've got some life now. They have 2 losses, which they can't afford because they played Ohio State in the first game. They're the number 1 team in the country that can afford 3 losses because of the quality of the schedule. So even if they lost again and they're at Georgia later in the year, they'll still get in. And I think they will. I don't think they have much more that's going to get them. Now Georgia's a little bit of a fluky team too. They have not looked great. They've won 2 games literally they probably shouldn't have.
All right, so tell me, what were you surprised with Michigan's loss? And also, I mean, they're paying their quarterback a lot of money, and so far it doesn't seem like it's worth it.
No, I mean he's a raw freshman, which is hard. I mean, listen, it's like a rookie quarterback in the NFL. We're watching that in real time with the Giants. But I was more impressed with USC than I was unimpressed by Michigan. Lincoln Riley might have finally done it. He had Caleb Williams early, did pretty well, and then he went bust, and that was an impressive win for them. If USC, not to get off the Michigan train, can go to Notre Dame this weekend and win, they're probably going to end up in the playoffs, and he will save his job, even though he has, I think, about a $75 million buyout.
UCLA looks like they've righted the ship a little bit after that early firing. Is Neuheisel the new golden boy in college football?
I would give him the job today. He's done something that the previous coach didn't do. He's infused energy into the program. They're fun to watch, and they have a pretty good quarterback. Remember, their starting quarterback took Tennessee to the playoffs last year.
Good stuff, Paul, as always. I thank you for coming on.
Enjoyed it. Thank you, Michael.
All right, have a good rest of your day. That was the Paul Finebaum Report, brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. So interesting stuff there going on in college football. Arch Manning seems like he's righted the ship. He had a pretty good game against Oklahoma. That was a game that they had to win, and they did. And the Penn State story, I mean, just think about it. Just think about it. This is a state school. And they're giving $49 million to a guy to go away. And you see the money that like a school like Rutgers spends. These are state schools. And I know that the athletic budget is different than the rest of the budgets. I get that. But optically, it's a bad look. I mean, schools are like charging, almost ridiculous amounts of money for tuition. And then you see this kind of money just wasted, set on fire. Because you fired the football coach because he doesn't win enough big games for you. So I understand the 2 losses that he's had in a row, awful. I get it. But the guy has usually won double-digit games every single year. And then a state school that you would think that the money is probably not that easy to come by, $49 million to go away. To go away. I wonder if somebody would pay me $49 million to go away. Hey, Game Time is brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. 7 p.m., the Rangers will host the Oilers at Madison Square Garden. See if they could score at the Garden. Coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. right here on ESPN New York. And at 8 p.m., NLCS Game 2 with the Brewers hosting the Dodgers. Full coverage can be heard on 1050 ESPN beginning at 7:30 p.m. That game will be on TNT. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew. Try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glass up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. Now, before we break, if you have a little get-together with your friends in a bar, dinner party, whatever, and you want to just blow people away with a sports trivia question, I'm gonna tie it all together for you. All right? So on this date in 1976, Chris Chambliss hit a home run in the bottom of the 9th inning against the Kansas City Royals' Mark Littell to get the Yankees back into the World Series for the first time since 1964. And it was the first World Series appearance for George Steinbrenner as the owner. He bought the team in 1973. You've all seen the video. You've seen the craziness that went on at Yankee Stadium. But do you know, anybody out there within the sound of my voice, do you have any idea who was on deck for the Yankees when Chris Chambliss hit that? I guess they didn't call it a walk-off home run then. It has since now been added to the sports vernacular that it is a walk-off, like yesterday's kick in the Commanders game was considered a walk-off win for the Bears. So what's it about? Who was on deck when Chris Chambliss hit that home run leading off the bottom of the ninth inning against Mark Littell? Also, you guys have listened to this show. You listen to me on the radio for 23, 24 years. You probably know I'm not that high on steppage. Please, at some point in your life, go to YouTube and listen to the call by Keith Jackson on ABC of the Chambliss home run. And the amount of steppage by Howard Cosell, unbelievable. And the ball was not clearly out. It just evaded the leaping try of Hal McRae, the right fielder for the Royals. Just evaded it. And when the ball was hit, Cosell just stepped all over Keith Jackson. It's gone. And he went into the whole spiel. The New York Yankees have, won the American League pennant. You got to hear it, but it's just an incredible amount of steppage. Now, here's where I tie it all together, where you get to be the smartest guy at the cocktail hour, or gal. The person who was on deck for the Yankees because of previous pinch hitting earlier in the game was Sandy Alomar Jr. Check that. Sandy Alomar Sr. And another little tidbit, Sandy Alomar Sr. wore number 2, which later became the number of Derek Jeter and will never be worn again. And I say bring it all together because yesterday Sandy Alomar Sr. passed away at the age of 81, the dad of Roberto Alomar and Sandy Alomar Jr. So today is the anniversary of the 1976 walk-off by Chambliss, and you'll see in some of the replay highlights, you could see somebody jumping up and down in the on-deck circle, and that is, in fact, Sandy Alomar Sr. So condolences go out to his family, his kids. One of them is a Hall of Famer. The other one is a longtime fixture with Cleveland. So 81 years old, early to go, but he does hold that small part in Yankee lore. That was the only playoffs I think he ever appeared in 1976 with the Yankees. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to Ruben in Monticello. How you doing, Ruben?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? Happy October.
Same to you. What's up, man?
So I just wanted to ask you, and I'm sure you probably talked about it, maybe I missed it. How do you think we would have fared with the Mariners? Blue Jays don't look too hot. It's so weird because I see all of the Blue Jay fans wearing "the Yankees lose" on their jerseys. They're just talking a whole bunch of smack. That to the side, how do you think that we would have fared against the Mariners?
I think they would have had a chance. You're going to laugh at me, Ruben. A lot of people listening will laugh as well. I still think the Yankees had a better team than the Blue Jays. I think the Yankees have a better team than the Mariners, but it doesn't matter because the Yankees didn't hit and the Blue Jays did. The Yankees didn't pitch and the Blue Jays did. So I don't care if the roster's better and if there's more stars, what's the better team? And at that point, the Blue Jay team was better than the Yankees. But I think the Yankees could have fared well against Seattle. Seattle has very good starting pitching. But the one thing that I thought would play in the favor of the Blue Jays is Seattle really had a battle to the bitter end to get by the Tigers. And I thought that they would probably use up their pitching and that they would not be ready for the beginning of the series, especially in Toronto. But Toronto beat the Yankees in 4 games, so they had time to reset and get their pitching in order. And Seattle didn't. But Seattle takes the first 2 games in Toronto and now heads back to what I'm sure will be a crazy, crazy home field advantage for Seattle. Yeah, it's odd. It's odd to watch the team that so thoroughly destroyed the Yankees now can't get out of its own way against Seattle. So, I with their pitching, and I think their bullpen is better. Seattle probably gets by Toronto, and it is interesting the amount of effort they put into celebrating because they beat the Yankees. Not only the team, but the fan base. And it doesn't matter what the fan base feels; it shouldn't affect the team. But the way the team celebrated, and the Yankees celebrated crazy to beat the Red Sox. So it's not a referendum on how they celebrated. But maybe they looked at that as, their top of the hill. They want to get over that hump. And they did. And maybe there's a little bit of a letdown. Maybe they'll get back into it in Seattle. But they've dug themselves quite a hole. It's hard to come back when you lose both games at home in a best of 7. Can they do it? Yeah, because they're a good team. They're a good team. But it's intriguing if Seattle finally does get to the World Series, one of the few teams out there that has not been to the World Series. Can they do it this year? Remember, in 2001, they won 116 games and they didn't go. This year, they've had their ups and their downs, but they still have good starting pitching. And if Wu is healthy enough to pitch later on in the series, that bodes very, very well for them. Anyway, getting back to the Blue Jays, the Yankees lose. I mean, what are you doing? And John Sterling's retired. He didn't even announce this year. There was nobody screaming, the Yankees win. The Yankees win. So, I mean, you're taking something. I mean, why don't you just go back and, make light of Valentine Blast with Mel Allen? That's your rallying cry? You're saying something that hasn't been said in a year? Because the guy who said it has been retired for a year? It doesn't make sense that that's what you're hanging on the rim about, but whatever makes you happy. And I understand, to the victors go the spoils. They had a wild celebration at Yankee Stadium. They played New York, because that's blaring in the ears of teams that lose. So this is their way to get back. Listen, you get to do whatever you want to do because you won. But the whole with David Ortiz and Vlad Guerrero, the Yankees lose, kind of silly. Really. I mean, it'd be more applicable to, hey, I mean, that's Dave Sims, right? Or if you want to, wave to the Yankees, say, see ya. But you're digging out something that hasn't been said in a full year. Odd. But again, to the victors go the spoils. They could say what they want, and that seems to be a big T-shirt seller in Toronto. The Yankees lose. Go for it. Enjoy yourself. Again, you won. You can do what you want. 1-800-919-3776. We'll take more of your phone calls when we get back. It's me and you for 2 hours every day from 1 to 3 right here on ESPN New York.
Listen up, football fans. At Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in New Jersey. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Did you know women account for 2/3 of all Americans living with Alzheimer's and 2/3 of all Alzheimer's family caregivers? Join the Alzheimer's Foundation of America at its Women Empowerment Forum on November 5th in Amityville to learn practical ways women can reduce their risk for Alzheimer's and enhance quality of life for themselves and their loved ones living with Alzheimer's. For more information or to register, visit alzfdn.org or call 866-232-8484.
If you've been injured on a construction site, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique labor laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling construction accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for hardworking New Yorkers. From scaffold accidents to slip and falls and equipment failures, they've got your back. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS. That's right, 718-WORKERS, because your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Honey, this is it.
Shot clock winding down. Trailing by 2.
When you can't miss the last shot, and neither can he, don't take slow for an answer.
Pastrello shoots. Did you see it, Charlie?
Switch to Optimum Fiber, the fastest and most reliable fiber internet, starting at just $40 a month. Call 888-4-OPTIMUM or visit Optimum.com today.
What went through your head on the last shot?
It all happened so fast.
Optimum, Don't take slow for an answer. Terms apply. See Optimum.com for details.
Hey, it's Alan Hahn. Let me tell you about my friends at Bath Fitter. They remodeled the bath by my pool. They converted a tub into a shower. The result is amazing. Bath Fitter offers all types of custom bath renovations, including their unique PermaFit solution for a watertight fit. It's done in one day, easy to clean, and durable with no demo or mess, and it costs less than a standard replacement. Plus, a lifetime guarantee. Right now, you get no money down, no payments or interest until 2027. So start designing your bath today at bathfitter.com. There's only one Bath Fitter.
This fall, don't sit on the sideline because of pain. If you're tired of waking up stiff, fighting neck, back, or joint pain, and missing out on the things you love, it's time to take action. Call Dr. Jay Shaw at Sandwell Pain, New Jersey's top pain specialist. Dr. Shaw is an Ivy League trained, double board certified, and laser focused on one thing: getting you back in the game. Living pain-free, no surgery, no cuts, no downtime. Just precise image-guided treatments that deliver real results. Whether it's sciatica, nerve pain, migraine, or chronic joint pain, Dr. Shaw will personalize a non-surgical game plan just for you without pain medication. Same day and next day appointments are available with offices in Woodbridge, Livingston, and Inglewood. Most major insurances are accepted, so what are you waiting for? Don't let pain keep you out of the action this season. Visit Sandwell Pain to text, call, or book online. You'll wish you met Dr. Jay Shaw a lot sooner. Relief starts today, and victory over pain is closer than you think.
Score or win this game day with Amazon Pickup, the MVP of package pickup. Need that new football jersey for the big matchup? With Amazon Pickup, you can collect your order from secure Amazon lockers or counters near you on your schedule. Whether you're running from work or home or straight to the tailgate, Amazon Pickup makes it easy and worry-free at no extra cost. Don't miss kickoff. Grab your gear and your packages when it works for you. Find your nearest Amazon Pickup location at amazon.com/pickupmvp. That's amazon.com/pickupmvp.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football. It's a pepper thing.
From kickoff to cash out, ESPN Bet has the tools you need to score more on game days. Bet smarter with stats at your fingertips. Get personalized parlays built just for you. And with your fantasy team synced right in the app, you can back your squad. Right now, new customers get $100 in bonus bets when you bet $10. Sign up with promo code USL to get started. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
All right, so I was talking about this earlier, and we dug it up because I don't want to ask you to work to hear something that I refer to. Here is the Chambliss home run that happened on this day in 1976. So that's 49 years ago, and it's the most incredible steppage by Howard Cosell. Let's listen to that call.
Art Littell delivers high drive, hits it right center field. That's gone. It is gone. Chris Chambliss has won the American League pennant for the New York Yankees. A thrilling, dramatic game with overtones of that great sixth game in the World Series a year ago, and then the seventh game too. What a way for the American League season to end. A spunky young Kansas City team. Look at them mob Chris Chambliss. What a season he has had. What a series he has had.
So if you listen to when Cosell screams, "It's gone," to how Keith Jackson waits to just play the beginning again because it bears listening, because he could have gotten burned so bad if the ball was caught by McRae. Listen.
Art Littell delivers high drive, hits it right center field. That's gone. It is gone. Chris
About 4 seconds, he screams "It's gone" before it's actually gone. So imagine he screams "It's gone." So this is the danger in steppage, and then the ball's caught. He looks like a complete fool. But he had the broadcasting gods on his side, didn't he? 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to the phones. Joe in Westbury. Joe.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
The problem with good. I miss you, Michael. The season's over. I miss you. I just want to say I was there last year at the last game, and I was there this year at the last game, and I'm looking forward to next year. The season's going to be over. Baseball's out of my life at the end of the World Series, and it doesn't come back to March. And I'll be waiting for it.
We look forward to having you back.
But what I want to say about the Blue Jays, they think they won the World Series. They think that's it. They had that big celebration, that big thing. They think they got to throw their glove and back to Toronto. They'll finish them off in Seattle. You're right. That team's not that good. You're right.
But you know what? I don't want the fans in Toronto to hate me. I think they are good. I don't think they're as great as the way they beat up on the Yankees, and that's a problem for the Yankees more than anybody else. And the way the Yankees celebrated by beating the Red Sox, maybe that took a lot out of them as well. But that shouldn't impact the way you play. I mean, they had so many days to recalibrate and reset. Maybe Seattle's just better. But that did seem like the Blue Jays World Series to get over the hump of the New York Yankees. Let's go to Rob in Sayreville. Rob.
Big Mike, my man, thanks for taking the call. I am so glad you're bringing up the celebration aspect to this because it's been going through my head the past couple weeks. And I'm thinking to myself, like, we make the playoffs, we celebrate. Champagne showers in the locker room. Hey, we beat the Red Sox in the wild card series. Champagne showers in their locker room. Yay. I mean, like, what does that say about the culture of the team that we're celebrating this, number one? Number two, I mean, listen, I've had my fair share of champagne. I don't feel great the next day, and depending on how much you drink, you don't feel great for maybe the next couple days. I don't understand this culture that we have that we're partying when we're not reaching our ultimate goal. I mean, can you be happy for winning? Yeah, of course. But does it mean you got to, have this giant party like you just won it all? I mean, I just don't get it.
Well, I mean, when you say culture, it's not just the Yankees; it's the whole sport. The sport it's different than other sports because you could win a wild card game in the NFL and another playoff game in the NFL. You never see this sort of nonsense. You just don't. And it's not just that. The first 4 rounds in the NHL, never. NBA, never. You celebrate with the ultimate prize. And, in terms of like drinking champagne, most of the stuff is sprayed. I mean, they might drink some beer, but most of the stuff is sprayed. And I think it's beyond what we can appreciate because I've asked people about it. And I don't want to be the old guy on the lawn. I don't want to be that guy. I just think it's overkill. Why you celebrate? Like, you can just think of the amount of celebrations you could have. You clinch a playoff berth, celebration. Then you go on to win your division, celebration. Then you win the ALDS, celebration. Then you win the ALCS, celebration. And then if you're lucky enough to win the World Series, that's 5 celebrations. It's crazy. Now, Major League Baseball is partly to blame because the celebrations, if you watch all the celebrations, they're sponsored. There's Budweiser signs all over the place. So they're getting paid for that too. But, you can't blame the Yankees celebrating against the Red Sox and say that's why they lost to the Blue Jays. They had days after that before they played the Blue Jays, at least a full day. That's a good way to get over a hangover, by the way. I've talked to people about it, and they say it's a long season, and they deserve the right to let off steam and celebrate every single step of the way. I think it's silly. If it was me, I don't think that I would be an advocate for it. Why are you celebrating unless you reach your ultimate goal? And in terms of specifically the Yankees, this is an organization that has said over and over and over again, starting with the patriarch of the team, it's World Series or failure. So why are you celebrating anything but what you consider success? Making the playoffs is not something to celebrate. Winning the World Series is. That is from the head of your team, the patriarch of your team, George Steinbrenner, from your captain, Derek Jeter, from your present captain, Aaron Judge. Isn't it silly then to celebrate something unless it's the ultimate goal? So you could have had, last year, the Yankees had 4 celebrations, and then they lost the World Series. Why'd you celebrate? If the season was a failure, why'd you celebrate? Again, it's not us, it's them. It's not what we think, it's what they want. And Frank Cashin, the GM of the Mets, back in the day, used to always tell people, watch these celebrations. The guys who do the least celebrate the most. Let's go to Neil in the Bronx. Neil.
Good afternoon, Kay. Thanks for taking the call.
You got it, buddy. What's up?
Kay, I would like to ask you something about Judge. I mean, he had a killer postseason, and you did say that the Yankee standard has always been World Series or bust.
Mm-hmm.
And unlike Don Mattingly, Judge did have a lot of seasons with pieces around him to accomplish this.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I know it's a little premature, but how would Judge be ranked in Yankee lore greatness if he was ending his career without a championship ring? How would he be ranked amongst all the other Yankees that are in Monument Park?
Well, I think he would be in the top 10, Neil. I think that where we get tripped up with Judge is, we talk about Mount Rushmore. He's not on the Mount Rushmore. I don't think Derek is, and I don't think that Mariano is. When you've got Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, and Mantle, that's your Mount Rushmore. There's only 4 heads on the Mount Rushmore. So even if Judge won 3 World Series from here to the end of his contract, he's not getting on the Mount Rushmore. I mean, those are iconic all-time greats, and I think that Judge will be considered one of the Yankees' all-time greats, which would put him in the top 10, but not necessarily in the top 4. If Mo can't get on the top 4, a unanimous Hall of Famer, the only one, then how is Judge going to get there? So Judge deserves his flowers, and when you say he's had better teams around him than Mattingly did for most of his career, I would agree. But I would also tell you this, and I think it was proven in that series against the Blue Jays, one man cannot win you a title in baseball. It's just impossible. It is the ultimate team sport. You could do all you could do, and if the other people around you don't do it, I'm sorry, you're not going to win. Judge hit 500. He hit 500. 13 for 26 against Toronto, and the Yankees lost in 4 games. So you can't blame Judge on that. And in the other times, Judge didn't have great postseasons, and they didn't win. But Stanton had an unbelievable postseason last year, and they didn't win the World Series. And Soto had a great postseason, and they didn't win the World Series. So I can't pin it on any one person. And Mattingly, the one year he made the postseason, 95, hit over 400 against Seattle, and they lost in 5 games. It's not a one-man sport. You have one great player in basketball. He can get you to the top of the mountain just on sheer will, on sheer talent. Baseball, you still, no matter how great you are, no matter how much you do, you are still one of 9. And you only come up 4 or 5 times a game. And to take the starch out of it, they can intentionally walk you and you can't even swing in the biggest moments of the game. So that's all things that you have to consider. So long answer to a short question, I don't think he gets onto the Mount Rushmore. He gets into the top 10. I think he's there right now. That's how great he's been. But Mount Rushmore, probably not. Not even probably not. FanDuel is getting you ready for kickoff with an offer that you don't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. Pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style, FanDuel has you covered. Visit FanDuel.com/K to download the FanDuel app today and get started. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Make cancer screening a part of your annual healthcare routine. New York Presbyterian offers a full range of cancer screenings, including lung, cervical, prostate, colorectal, breast, and more. Regular cancer screenings could save your life by detecting cancer at its earliest, most treatable stages. Screenings are available across New York City and Westchester. Learn more at nyp.org/cancer screening. Stay amazing. New York Presbyterian.
There are a lot of reasons why people buy at Ramsey Mazda. It's their selection, it's their customer service, and it's their savings. Get 1.9% financing on a new Mazda 2025 CX-50 or lease for $219 for 36 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda. Call 833-853-2970 for lease details. VIN SN390557. MSRP $32,455. Zero security deposit. APR $17.48 per $1,000 financed. Ends 10/31/25.
Hey, it's Alan Hahn. Let me tell you about my friends at Bath Fitter. They remodeled the bath by my pool. They converted a tub into a shower. The result is amazing. Bath Fitter offers all types of custom bath renovations, including their unique PermaFit solution for a watertight fit. It's done in one day, easy to clean, and durable with no demo or mess, and it costs less than a standard replacement. Plus, a lifetime guarantee. Right now, you get no money down, no payments or interest until 2027. So start designing your bath today at bathfitter.com. There's only one Bath Fitter.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Every aspect of your business will operate better and faster with artificial intelligence. AI is a race, and companies that act first will win. Thrive Managed AI is your advantage over all your competitors. Thrive partners with you on a smart, secure AI strategy for your business. Then they deploy and manage it for you. Be first and win the race with Thrive Managed AI. Start with a complimentary strategy consultation at thrivenextgen.com/ESPN. That's thrivenextgen.com/ESPN.
Getting the right mattress helps you sleep at night. Getting the right price helps you sleep even better. At PC Richard & Son, they don't just sell you a mattress. Their experts use a 4-step fitting process to make sure your new bed fits you perfectly. The right fit, the right price, plus free delivery. It's what they do, only at PC Richard & Son. Free delivery on mattresses $199 and up. Excludes Manhattan. See stores for details.
Ballybet Sportsbook. Yo, Ballybet stacked for football season. When it comes to sportsbook apps, it's undefeated. Ballybet. Check out that brand new Parlay Zone. Here's the kickoff. Build your bets and place them right on your phone. What? Live bets, daily boosts, and promos. Increase your odds so you can win more dough. Touchdown! Ballybet's the play. Make game day more fun and download it today. Must be 21 plus, New York only. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Ballybet Sportsbook and Casino.
Download it.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
Rich Eisen here. As you all know, I care deeply about pediatric cancer research and awareness. That's why I'm proud to talk about Hyundai Hope on Wheels. For over 27 years, every Hyundai sold has helped fund life-saving pediatric cancer research. Together with over 850 dealers nationwide, they've raised more than $277 million, supporting over 25,000 kids in their fight against cancer. At Hyundai, hope isn't optional. It comes standard. Visit HyundaiUSA.com and search Hyundai Hope on Wheels to learn more.
Knicks fans, opening night is a bounce pass away. Join ESPN New York's Don Hahn and Rosenberg live from 3 to 6:30 p.m. from Stout on West 33rd between 6th and 7th. Steps from the Garden. Get ready for the start of Knicks basketball.
Runs it off the dribble. He got it and one.
Be there for special guests, live Knicks talk, and opening night vibes before tip-off. We'll see you at Stout on West 33rd. Don Hahn and Rosenberg live from the Knicks home opener. Don't just listen, don't just watch. Be there.
I wonder if the tide is turning. So I don't know if you all saw this, but Riley Green was sitting alongside the president of baseball operations of the Tigers, Scott Harris. And Riley Green is a talented player who strikes out in an inordinate amount of times. And Riley Green said, nobody cares about my 200 or more strikeouts a year. To which Scott Harrison chimed in, I actually care a lot about those strikeouts. I just don't think that you can look the other way with strikeouts. Nothing good happens with strikeouts. And the nonsense that I hear when people say, well, you're not hitting to a double play. Talk about negativity. There's a lot of things you could do when you put the ball in play other than hit into a double play. You can move a runner. A ball could squeeze through the infield. You know who you let strike out 200 times? Guys that are going to hit you 50 home runs. So Judge and Stanton, they could strike out a lot. And Judge, by the way, still won the batting title. So we have no kick coming when it comes to Aaron Judge. But Anthony Volpe, striking out as much as he does, it's an absolute waste. He can't strike out that much. Jazz Chisholm striking out the way he does, you can't strike out that much. That's some of the stuff that has to change. Because I still believe in the power of the home run. And I still believe the team that hits the most home runs ends up winning. They do. They end up winning. They'll win series. They'll end up in the playoffs. The teams that hit the most home runs, the top two teams with the most home runs, the Yankees and the Dodgers, they made the playoffs. Yankees had tied with the Blue Jays, best record in the American League. The Dodgers are 3 wins away from going back to the World Series. So home runs are important. I don't deny that. Strikeouts are bad. And I know the old analytic bromide, well, you know what? You strike out, nothing else bad could happen. Stop. But if you put the ball in play, a lot of bad things could happen for the defense. And we've seen it happen to the Yankees. And we saw it happen with the Blue Jays. Because before the home run by Judge, Bellinger hitting that pop-up to left field where there was miscommunication with the Blue Jays, and then Barger ended up dropping the ball, that led to that home run. Put the ball in play, things could happen. Strike out, nothing happens. Nothing. Sean in Long Island. Sean.
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
Good, how are you?
I want to touch on I'm okay. I want to touch on two things, and I want to get to the point we said about Jazz and Volpe too. But I think the Blue Jays' energy, and they came into it just wanting to beat the Yankees. I felt like that was their World Series. And as far as Jazz and Volpe, I feel they need to be more line drive hitters and stop for the home runs all the time. And there should only be about 3 or 4 guys on the Yankee team swinging for the fences, which is Judge, Stanton, Rice, and Bellinger's a great hitter, hitting home runs and singles. But with the speed of Jazz and Volpe, a walk is a double, possibly a triple. These guys should be hitting line drive, and their average will come up. How do you feel about that?
Well, in a sense, I agree with you. In some ways, I don't. I believe the perfect player, to me, in this day and age, in terms of the approach to hitting, is Bellinger. Do what you want with the first 2 swings. The first 2 strikes, go and try to hit it onto the Grand Concourse, even if you're Chisholm or Volpe, because home runs are important. But there should be a 2-strike approach. I don't think there is. With Volpe, there wasn't, and with Jazz, there isn't. You can see how different the swing is by Bellinger when he's gotten 2 strikes. He has a 2-strike approach. And I'll repeat something that CC Sabathia said on one of our broadcasts this year. He said, I would love to pitch now because players don't have a 2-strike approach. He said, it's so easy to strike them out. That has to change. Wanting to hit home runs, that doesn't have to change. It should change with 2 strikes. The thing I worry about with Anthony Volpe, the first year he wanted to hit home runs. So he had a share of home runs and a low batting average and low on-base percentage. Then in 2024, he cut down on the home runs and tried to put the ball in play and get base hits, and he still was a low 200 hitter. Then he goes back to trying for the home run. He finished with 19 in the regular season, and he hit something like 205. And his on-base percentage is about 230. That's unacceptable. And when I look at the shortstops that could be available, you don't even think about Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette is a bad defender, and you're not going to invest 7 years in Bo Bichette. He's a bad defender. So don't get seduced by the numbers. I know he's a really good hitter. He's a bad defender. I don't think there's a lot out there that would entice the Yankees to dump Volpe over the side of the boat. So what they have to do, okay, it's spring training. Oswaldo Cabrera, you're healthy now. Caballero and Volpe, you're battling for the shortstop job. Go get it. See who wins. I don't think they're going to bring in another shortstop because I don't think there are that many available. John in Washington. John.
Hey, Michael. Thanks for having me on again. How you doing?
Good. How are you, John?
Good. I enjoyed calling you a few times this year. I think, as just as a fan, the Yankees gave us good moments and bad moments, and that's all part of being a fan. And with that being said, living here in the Pacific Northwest, I obviously wanted a Yankees and Mariners, just for the friendly banter, with friends and things like that. But after seeing the Blue Jays' reaction, I definitely, hoping that the Blue Jays just dispatch them. But the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is, and you were talking earlier with one of the callers about how Judge batted 500 and everybody else was just abysmal. I was looking back at the 2009 team, and, you had A-Rod at 365, Matsui at 349, Jeter 344, Damon. You had guys that were batting in the 280s and 270s, and I just feel like somehow if we can get back to that approach, and I know you just got done talking about Volpe, launch angle, and everything has changed, but, man, at some point it's got to swing back to where guys are making contact and just kind of keep the bases going.
I don't know if it's going to swing back so much, John, and we're up against the clock. I thank you for the phone call. I look at it this way. You're comparing the 2009 Yankees. Don't compare with that team. That team is a really great team. I mean, look at the infield. It's one of the all-time great infields that you'll ever see. It just is. You got Teixeira, you got Cano, you got Jeter, you got A-Rod. It's an unbelievable team. Now, you know what changes things? Success. So the Blue Jays have a team that puts the ball in play. Maybe that changes people's ideas. Same thing with Milwaukee. Maybe that changes people's ideas. We'll see. We'll see who ends up on top. But maybe the Dodgers win another championship, and they're a big-time home run hitting team. So sports is a copycat situation. We'll see what team is successful, how they do it, and maybe that will follow suit. Thank you for the phone call. Thank you for the 2 hours, everybody. We certainly appreciate it. Can't do it without you. You are the great co-host. We'll be back again tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Coming up is Don Hahn and Rosenberg. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See everybody. Have a great afternoon. Talk to you tomorrow at 1.
John Ryan.
Yeah, Dad.
I think I came up with a killer slogan for our law firm. D'Agostino and Associates, bite back.
Bite back?
Yeah. When someone hurts you, you bite back. We'll be the law firm that bites back.
Dad, that's brilliant. Accident victims, call D'Agostino and Associates and bite